Recording in progress.
You are the only participant in the conference. The recording has started. Please note that your storage is almost full. Please log in and delete recordings or purchase more storage from your account. This session is no longer being recorded. The recording has started. Please note that your storage is almost full. Please log in and delete recordings or purchase more storage from your account.
All right, greetings. I think I'm screen sharing in free conference call. Should be recording. We'll get things moving over here. Minimize this some so I can have room for everything. We'll check out Zoom. Alright, we need to screen share Zoom so Zoom sees what we're seeing as well. And let's see, free conference call should see that too. Let's make sure. Share. Let's make sure it's share. Yeah. Okay, so that should be getting everything connected. Oh, I want to make sure. I'm having a hard time getting this, getting the radio option here working and recording. So let's see. All right. No, it's not letting me. It's pausing the screen share. What's pausing? Is that Zoom? That is Zoom. Okay, because it's in a different thing. All right, we'll come back to here. All right, so I want to welcome you. This is Christine on Gibson County, Indiana. I'm in the bottom left corner, just before the last county. I think it's Posey at the bottom there. And I am the state coordinator for the Indiana Assembly. Welcome. Others on the call, welcome. Please make sure that you put let us know who you are in the chat with your first name and county. I want to welcome you to the call. I'm already in screen share, so I can't really see yet who all. Maybe I can put it over because I'm in screen share. Oh, it's Joe. Hey, Joe.
Hi, Christine. I'm here.
All right.
I don't have video.
You don't have
Let
video
me see
yet.
if it's on.
You don't have video, or you're not seeing me?
I see you. I don't see myself.
Okay.
Let me see if I'm. You can continue. I'll
Okay.
figure it out on my end.
No worries. Welcome. All right, let's get things rolling here. This is Monday, December the 11th, 2023. We're almost done with December already. So let's get moving through this. Oh, bring this back up here. Okay. All right. So it is the Indiana Assembly, and this is the Jural and Militia Assemblies are in session. And we'll start with a moment of silence to honor our Creator. All right. We welcome Joe. He's our area postal chief, and he has been supporting us with our militia training as it connects to the assembly. So we'll go ahead and get the Bivens decision going. Again, make sure in the chat, wherever you're at, in Zoom or a free conference call or on YouTube, in your chat, put the name, your first name and what county and state, if you're on Indiana or on Kentucky. Let us know in the chat so we can make sure and welcome you to the call. This meeting is private. Bearing false witness, misrepresentation, and posting inflammatory rhetoric in public forums is forbidden and shall be addressed in an appropriate matter. Oh, that should be manner. To eliminate all conflict and false allegations, is there anyone in attendance at today's meeting or today's call that's a member or agent of any law enforcement agency or public agency of the federal, state, county, city, or township agencies present? Is there any response to the Bivens decision for the first time? And you can post your response in the chat. Everyone lets us know who's here. All right, seeing none for the first response. Is there any response to the Bivens decision for the second time? Hearing and seeing none. All right, any response for the Bivens decision for the third and final time? Hearing and seeing none. Okay, great. All right. Furthermore, anyone who is here under false pretenses, anyone who is working for any foreign, oh, your video is working, that's what it is. Foreign government, including the territorial United States or municipal United States, anyone who is being paid or coerced to be here, must fully disclose their presence and purpose now and leave the premises or conference call. No one can attend any of our meetings in secret or in private without answering to a roll call or without announcing or declaring their presence. All right. The right tab. Okay. So we're going to go through some countrywide court updates from the states from the...
Christine on Zoom now. That's why you can see me.
Oh, you're on Zoom. Okay, good. Okay. I'm having the hardest time with free conference call. I'll turn the radio on, and I know I even had it last week, and it's from the instructions is showing. Oh, you're not hearing.
You're muted.
Oh no.
On the Zoom.
Now you should be able to hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I think I have everything on. Okay, so I'm having the hardest time with free conference call of getting the radio recording links to show up. So I'm still trying to figure that aspect out. But so far we're getting things rolling, getting comfortable with free conference call too. All right. I hope I didn't... Yeah, you're still there. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So, We're going to go through some countrywide updates from last night's all-state coordinator call, as well as some ongoing that we could be able to gather from that call as well, to make sure for those that are new for updates, so that you can see what other states are doing. Addressing again on a special training for those that are interested in being coordinators. And then, of course, going through her recent articles, and then we'll be working with Joe about talking about the assembly offices again. So we'll run through. Now, if we get going and we forget, we're adjourning the Jural Assembly portion until January the 8th now, because we now have, because the next one would have been the 25th. That's Christmas. So we're adjourning that one until the second Monday in January. But the next General Assembly will be next week, the 18th, and then that will be the last assembly call for this week. All right, we'll go ahead and get things going. Our coordinator's mission is that we cannot fail. We're willing in it, and we should all have this mindset too, that we cannot fail. We're willing and able to do this work physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. We have resolve and determination. We walk the talk and work every day to bring the du jour into reality. We have excellent tools to complete our work. We set realistic and achievable goals. We learn and research constantly. We have a timeline this year. We track our progress. We measure our strengths and weaknesses. We continually improve and revise accordingly. And we conduct ourselves with peace and love. And so then the classic signs of infiltrators: an agent provocateur, one employed to associate with suspected persons and by pretending sympathy with their aims to incite them to some incriminating activity or action. Then there's the infiltrator, an informer or stool pigeon. Then there are the lurkers, one that like to lie in hiding. They like to secretly come to the calls. They don't want to announce themselves. They just like to appear on the call with no camera, don't want to announce who they are. But then they're also at the same time looking to try and see who's doing what, so that they can immediately email and complain to somebody about it. Okay. So then the classic signs: attack the leaders. That would be the coordinators, Anna, James. Attack the foundational elements. They don't want to work through the same paperwork as everyone else, albeit there are some things that are different conditions, situations, but yet the foundational documents are the same. Many want to attack the progress made so far. They want to divide and conquer, do a lot of gossiping. Want to accuse others of what they're doing themselves, and so forth. All right, the mission for the Indiana Assembly is dedicated to the restoration, not the reformation, but the restoration of a complete and fully operational land and soil jurisdiction state and county court system, serving the people of Indiana, the preservation of the national trust, the enforcement of the public law, the upholding of the federal constitution owed to our state and people, the repopulation of our land and soil jurisdiction, the filling of our vacated public offices, and the reclamation of our material and intellectual public and private assets. Again, we are the people. We're responsible for actually filling these seats and actually performing those roles. To these ends, we, the living people of Indiana, have called the eligible Indiana nationals and citizen electors to assemble and to serve as jurors and officers, and we've established the process and procedure to qualify jurors and others competent to hold state citizenship and public office. We do this peacefully and without rancor in the exercise of our unincorporated powers and capacities. We hold value statements. We stand under the laws of nature, the laws of nature's God, the Ten Commandments, the Declaration of Independence. We accept the fiduciary responsibility of the Indiana Trust and operate under the prudent man standard, meaning that we treat our state business as if it were our own business. And that's with honor and with integrity, and making sure that there's not wasteful spending and doing the best that you can to support with what you have. We keep the peace and uphold the public law. We report crime. We value each man and woman as a unique, and we recognize them as powerful co-creator. We willingly choose to self-govern and strive to show up as our best self in each and every experience. And that means when you commit to something, follow through with that commitment. That's bare minimum. We do not and we will not condone or participate in any form of insurrection, rebellion, or creation of armed forces other than the lawful state assembly militias, operated as they're supposed to be operated within each state, and our land-based Continental Marshal Service, which is our jurisdictional interface with the U.S. Marshal Service. We perform under the treaties and constitutional agreements already established, and for supporting the restored American government, the reconstruction thereof, and will become responsible for the conduct of the restored Confederation and Federal Republic. We have our 4 pillars. Earlier today we had our second of 3 sessions for this round of new member orientation calls, and again we went through the 4 pillars. We have the General Assembly, a discussion and decision forum for intrastate business, and acts as committee of the whole to decide issues of general interest, conducts elections, and provides oversight for all assembly functions. There's the International Business Assembly, composed entirely of state citizens, conducting on for international and interstate business of the assembly. The Jural Assembly, that's this one, provides the court services and oversees the grand jury, trial juries, officers, and functions of the court. And then the assembly militia is focused on promoting public safety within the boundaries of their state, and is the well-regulated militia guaranteed to each state for its internal security. So here are the articles that Anna goes through as what the reminders are, specifically 4400, our court system, so you can start learning. I posted in a previous assembly call that the links for those articles, the jurisprudence and link to common law, and I think I did, yeah, I think that's out there. So assembly process, summoning authority, that's happened. Volunteers from the state step forward and do their paperwork. That's been happening. Volunteers are vetted as coordinators. That's been happening. Assemblies are populating. So that's what we're at, and now we're working through to fill the roles for to assemble, to establish the General Assembly, business, jural, and militia in this. And then it'll be establishing the election of session officials, state national official training and transition, state citizens as well, and then once that occurs, the process complete. The coordinator role sunsets. Happy dance. Okay. Here are the 6 principal goals for assemblies. Educate, educate, educate. We all need to be on that same page as well, because everybody needs to be educated in this process now. Declare and record their political status, participate in the General Assembly and discuss in-state issues, build up and staff your public courts, serve as jurors. If eligible, act as state citizens. At this time, participate in the International Business Assembly to decide on those issues, and build up and staff the assembly militia. And here's a link that goes through that. So our direct goals are, we need to populate all the counties. We're at 31 of 92 on Indiana, 35 of 120 on Kentucky. We need to fill the first 3 primary offices that need to be filled: Chair Pro Tem, State Marshal at Arms, State Secretary Pro Tem. The Chair Pro Tem is the one that will be recognized to send those letters to letters of notice to the de facto, not the state coordinator. Kentucky already has as their state marshal arms, and so he's been sharing his services with Indiana to help support here, so we can get some guidance in that way. And we're also looking for a state secretary to be able to support keeping the materials together for the assemblies, connecting, getting the agenda together and things like that. Of course, we need to start establishing the committees And in your email, some of you, there were the links that had the list of recommended committees, because that's how we work, is through the committees. And then, of course, we want to work at establishing, I need to just change that to CRT for Community Response Team for that aspect. All right, so here is a map view of Indiana. Red is red on the pictorial map, and then green on the text chart are all counties that have been populated. The ones in yellow have at least spoken up. We're still waiting for them to at least present the minimum 1779, 2 witness testimonies and birth certificate, and to be able to get them on the map here. And here is for Kentucky. Green's populated, green populated, yellow, they've at least spoken up, and the whites are those that haven't spoken at all on those counties, but it's grayed out on here. All right, so we're Zoom is winding up. The contract, it ends in mid-January, so we're finishing this up for assembly calls for the end of the month here. We've already started moving everything over towards free conference call, and we'll be working through that as long as we can till the assembly decides that if there's a better route to go at that time, and we'll see how that goes. A reminder, our remaining schedule for this year, as well as I scheduled out through the first quarter, so that way it's not too far out there, so everybody can be able, doesn't make commitments and life changes happen that you're not able to hold on to those dates at that time. So those are available for you there. We're still determining a town hall. We're running into, everybody's dealing with getting things ready for the Christmas season and wrapping up the year with items as well. So that's taken a little bit of time to come up with town halls dates for those. We can easily come up with presentations. It's getting a date and getting that put out there. Okay, so here's our updates. Countrywide court updates. This is just from this past Sunday night's call. So Washington has already had their first mock trial for their trial court, and they are, and when they did it, so it was in the recording. I think it's for Tuesday. For tomorrow, they have their second mock trial. Alaska courts have already been in process, and they have been sharing their process manuals to be able to support other states if they're interested. And because of that, California announced last night that it elected Alaska's court process because it was very simple, easy to follow, and their elected justice is now holding jury training that is based on the Alaska court process from their adoption. Georgia's reviewing Alaska's court processes and North Carolina's processes, so they're in review. Which means, and of course, then North Carolina is already in process with their courts, so they've been sharing their manuals. I think North Carolina has like 6 different manuals broken out for the various different segments. Utah is they are preparing. They're almost to their final draft of their notice to all the de facto that their common law courts are standing. And South Carolina has shared their clerk of court affirmation, so they're at least rolling with filling offices on South Carolina as well. So those I felt were poignant to be able to bring up, to be able to support, since this is the Jural Assembly call, so you can see that the other states are actively moving and getting things going on their states. Terry posted, here is a link. It's study.com, but it's the ex parte Milligan, so you can actually dive in and study that case and learn that it's based here. One of the parties in the case is from Indiana. It's on Indiana. So that's an important summary case that you want to learn to go through, and that'll help to support. All right, so a reminder that Anna is holding special coordinator training calls for those that have at least presented that they're at least the minimum 1779 2 witness testimonies and birth certificate, but are at least thinking about being a co-coordinator. So, or for a state that maybe they're having trouble and needing a lead coordinator. So Anna has started specialized training just for coordinators and those that are interested in being coordinators. That's where the new opening comes in that we brought in from the last call. And here are the dates for these trainings with Anna, and it may go out further depending on how it goes. But right now these are the set dates that Anna has agreed to. And then, but she's also agreed that if it comes to agreements during calls to extend out, that we can do that as well. So if you are interested, please send me an email, and because they're updating their accessibility of how many people, because their first call, they're already getting people that were kicked out after 200 had entered the call, so California's upgraded their hosting tool to be able to go to a webinar status. So that'll be able to open up some more opportunities. So, and I thought I saw that link, but I don't have the updated link for that one yet with the bigger. So get an email out to me and I can be able to send you the link to that. The recordings will be put on a private link through Rumble for California Assembly's Rumble channel, but she'll be sharing the link each time. I was having trouble accessing Rumble before getting on the call, saying due to overload of the server. So I wasn't able to be able to get onto Rumble even yet. But the way that's set up, you're going to have to first go to Rumble, find California's Assembly, find their page thing, become a subscriber of their group, and then the link will open for you to access the video. So when those get shared for those that had showed interest that they wanted to participate with that. Okay. Alright, so I wanted to address Anna's article 4520, Java Alert Incoming. Highlights for months and months now. People have been listening to their personal military sources, telling them to sit back and enjoy the show. The show they are intending to put on involves hiring foreign mercenaries, importing them into the country in violation of our public law and their public service contract, the Constitution in the United States of America, and killing these foreign immigrants along with a lot of Americans sacrificed as collateral damage. The only collateral damage we want to see is the forfeiture of these run amok and criminally mismanaged commercial corporations. She goes on with it. There are already enough organizations equipped to do what has to be done. We don't need any public riots. Rather, let us be honest and grieve. Let us contemplate our options and what scientific means can be used to suppress or remove the damage these fools have done. Let us gather quickly together and let our rage fuel better things, not more blood in the streets. Don't give them any satisfaction. Let them be revealed for what they are. Apart from bringing the criminals to justice, let us destroy the corporations those men used to bring about these tragic results, and by which they sought to profit themselves. And again, she continues, every asset any of these corporations ever had needs to be lawfully converted to the land jurisdiction and made subject to the public law and law of the land. And those assets need to be used to find answers and provide comfort to the survivors. And this is wrapping it up here for this article. What our government can do is offer an organized and rational response to this situation via opening our public courts and the application of our public law, which will serve to keep the rage organized and properly directed and save other innocent lives from being lost in riots and other kinds of special upheaval. So we can also draw a line and offer amnesty to protect those who were acting in ignorance or under criminal coercion when they promoted or administered the injections. In the interest of peace and what remains of decency, we can serve as a bridge to a better future. So you want to go to the link, and she reminds us that this website and movement isn't about begging and pleading with our employees and subcontractors to behave. It isn't about reforming them and their operations. It's about restoring our lawful land jurisdiction government to full functionality. Okay. I did also notice on the TASA site difference between American and a U.S. citizen. So if you needed a reminder of why it's important that we need to bring our public courts and why you need to declare yourself as an American, and the difference as to what U.S. citizen means, here's a reminder. Okay, so here are Anna's articles for the week with the link for those as well. And I went through a little bit of 4520 there for you. Here's another reminder of the med beds. The opportunity is out there. Here is contact information, their website details if you're interested in supporting to gift to the assembly, for the assembly as a state to be able to start with their med bed process. You can donate right here for that. If you want one for yourself, there's the info as well. And then share the good news. All right. So that's all I had to bring for this evening. And we'll go ahead and are there any questions in the chat? I don't see anybody in here. All right. So I'm not seeing any questions. So I guess we're ready to go. To go on with you, Joe, with what would you like me to bring up, or?
I can do screen share.
Okay, you're in Zoom, so I need to stop sharing.
Yeah, Christine, I don't have too much to share today. A couple of announcements.
Okay.
Of very near future meetings with one other state in our area.
Okay.
That's going to be with the Ohio Assembly on the 17th. I don't have the date. I'll try to get maybe an invite, special invitation for you if you're available on that weekend.
Okay.
I believe it's going to be on the 17th. And
Sunday.
I think it's at noon.
Okay.
Might be at noon.
Okay.
But it's going to be with our several sheriffs, soil jurisdiction sheriffs on Ohio.
Okay.
It'll be their, I should be their marshal at arms also attending. Hopefully it's not last minute, but I'll have to, I don't have the link yet.
Right.
Either, but if you'd like to, or maybe I can get the replay if you don't have the time. Of course, we're trying to garner more support on levels of peacekeeping for all of the states, but
right.
Being that that's your neighbor to the east.
Yes.
Your east.
Yes.
All right, let me, the PKTF news site is down currently. We're transitioning from a higher platform because we're getting more content there and more viewers, and it's just one of those things where you have to upgrade.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's having to do upgrades right now.
Yeah. But I wanted to share this. Let me know if you can see the screen. This is one of...
Yes.
Okay, you may have seen this one before, Christine, but I just kind of wanted to reiterate a lot of the things that are going on to the site, PKTF news site, are PowerPoint presentations. We don't have any organic photos yet from the assemblies, but that will be in the future inevitably. So what we have to work with are basically PowerPoint presentations. You're not going to see the presentations fully on the site, but you'll see snippets, PowerPoint slide snippets,
Right.
which shows the readers, especially assembly militia leadership, what they can expect. Okay, so now you've probably seen this slide before, maybe not, but it's interactive, okay, and it'll be for your assembly militia leader, and there will also be in the future. There's going to be access to these as tutorials, just for time's sake and for replay convenience and all of these things, basically for brevity's sake.
Right.
Yeah. So this is just one. There's numerous other slides that would follow this. This is just one slide I just wanted to show you guys. If you do go to the site, once it's back up again, you go under services, you'll go under analysis, I believe, and it starts to enter into the focus on the Bill of Rights. And of course, the Americans are focused on their premise moving forward as Americans is under the Declaration of Independence and other fundamental works. But we still have to, in the present and moving forward, focus on those 10 enumerated rights. Because along with their enumerated services under that compact, they have rights as well. And I can't emphasize this enough. All Americans have those rights, but they just so happen to be in the contract through the states and through the future or federal republic. They still have these same rights. So what you see on the screen is a kind of a daisy chain, which kind of builds into and beyond into the 10 amendments. Now the first one, you'll see it's actually listed, okay, as leading into press board. There's other parts of freedoms regarding free speech and freedom of expression in the press, but the Peacekeeping Task Force is trying to, build into that, actually add depth and dimension to include, or as a premise, and then leading further into those rights, because the militia is so much more than just servicing the people under those 10 amendments. Does that make sense at all, or is that off?
No.
Yeah.
That's
right.
Good.
So the Indianans, the citizenry, would naturally adopt those same rights and serve the people under those same rights, which are they're just enumerated, and they're upheld and they're followed, and they're to help make their service more convenient, more expressive, more protected, serving the people. Okay, so you can imagine the types of policies that enumerate and build upon and define rights if you worked anywhere. Amazon, Kroger, Ford Motor Company. They would think, well, what are the limitations? What am I as an employee? What are my rights? Okay. Well, that's the same with the Constitution, and they have always had the 10 amendments to those rights, and then it built on. The further they built on, which now the current Constitution has 27 amendments, but still, even today's current Constitution, they also maintain the Bill of Rights. Okay, and that's the First Amendment. You're not going to see the Second Amendment, but here on this slide, you'll start to see the Second Amendment kind of rear its awesome head here in the third chain here. But you'll notice it's not really building towards the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. It's actually kind of broadening or expanding on what any community, that being a county, offers itself to its people through services. Okay, for instance, engineers. Of course, you're not going to find an engineering right under the Bill of Rights. There's no amendment for engineering, but it's a service that your county is owed. Okay, doesn't mean that it's equipped with the skill set, people that are there. Maybe traditionally, depending on where that county is, it may be limited in some kind of engineering. Maybe it's up in a mountain somewhere, or the majority of it's up in a mountain. It doesn't quite have a rail station to go through it. Well, a locomotive engineer fits in the realm of engineering. And then you have also other aspects of engineering here. Uh, Four basic categories: electrical engineering, civil engineering, mechanical, chemical, and logistical engineering. Actually, logistical engineering would fit in the wheel space of a locomotive engineer, which is what I am. I'm a logistics engineer. But it's just showing you how the assemblies can broaden their horizon to further galvanize these 10 amendments by adding other sets to them. It doesn't have to be in any rhyme or reason, but certainly it doesn't have to be First Amendment. How does the First Amendment relate to the Second Amendment? And it kind of does. Well, how does the Second Amendment link arms to the Third Amendment, which is bordering, the soldiering, bordering, allowing sanctuary for soldiering, things like that. It could be, arguably it could be linked to that, Fourth, Fifth, Sixth Amendments. Well, they all need to be examined by themselves. It's imperative that all assembly members learn these rights because they're your state citizenry as Americans will definitely enjoy those rights and know that they can serve the people knowing these rights are protected. Okay. And then bookbinding. This is just another skill as part of the militia of the people that offers those kind of skills. And, that could help out with the role of state librarian, which we talked about last week, which is not just books, but it's, we have right now the assemblies through, I think the data management server is holding 12,000 separate works that spans 200 years or more. Certain skills, you can actually read from a book, 200, 300, 400 pages, 500 pages, and learn an ancient skill that has been long lost. It's not that skill may not even be known to anybody than my 14,672 people that lives on my county, which is interesting if that's the case. But there's plenty of room for growth for any communities, where really what I'm getting at here. Mm-hmm. This chain here of these 8 parts of a growing militia also lends itself to what a militia might be, but far away from this idea of camouflage and weapons cache and supplies, training. That is, I have to continue to reiterate that, because believe it or not, there's some people who still are afraid of even discussing joining their militia, thinking that because that's the going notion. People think that's what it's about by and large. But if you look at it, no, even looking at the first 10 amendments, there's nothing with regards to militia except within the Second Amendment. And it's a very short mention, because it's actually, when you look at the Second Amendment, it's actually 2 parts. You have a preparatory clause and a second clause that mentions the militia. And that's argued by constitutional lawyers as well, as far as making that distinction of, wow, this is a really interesting a right to begin with for its citizenry to have. But then how is it that the term militia, or the idea of militia, has received such a stigma throughout the decades? And I kind of know why, but it's definitely worth discussing, and it's worth continuing to discuss with your future Assembly militia leader on Indiana and all others. Okay, so now we're on number 7 here. Business contract just deals with underwriting. Those who are counselors at law, those who are growing in their executive business assemblies, this is another right by all people. You have a right to unlimited or limitless contracting, but those contracting, if not done properly, can lead to swindle. So that's one of the 4 tenets of maintaining natural laws, for cause and allow no swindle. So contracting and the writing and the clarity behind it is necessary, right? And then public relations. So these are just a few things that we will be discussing further. Discussions will build off of this, and these slides will also build. I don't know if you, Christine, if you've ever seen a fishbone presentation or a slide that actually kind of builds out.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Right. So with these, you'll notice this is kind of a daisy chain effect, kind of a chain fence kind of a deal. And you'll notice that the First Amendment is mentioned here, more of an emphasis on peace on the press corps. But the Peacekeeping Task Force is offering syndication because if we have the right on the opportunity to build off of actual fair and balanced press, then we have a golden opportunity to study, first of all, study the First Amendment completely, analyze it, refine its approach, maintain it, protect it, and then operate within it as a right. And if the mindset continues to grow towards that notion instead of, throwing stones at the incorporated entities because they pervert such rights and they try to stifle such rights, the American people can say, hey, they have to realize what these rights are first and foremost. Whose rights are they? Certainly all 10, not these, this is a chain of building off of the first and touching upon the second, and then no other chain here has any mention about any of the other Bill of Rights, because that's not the notion here. The notion is to build kind of build out that fishbone, you can see my hand, kind of build out from that and go to the upwards of this. On the bottom, go down to the right, from the top, go up to the right, and just build off of it. And you'll end up having many facets of what a true assembly can offer. Many. Just choose, mention a skill, see how it would fit in with your county as a service owed to it. Like how about a physician's office? You'll notice there's no right for a physician's office. There's no right for, but certainly, every man and woman has a right to have, medical facilities offered to them. Then it comes down to the fact: does this any one particular county have those resources or not? If they don't, they're owed that right. But there's no amendment within the Constitution that would allow it. Here's an even better one, probably the best of them all. There's actually nothing in the Constitution at all that mentions a county or a community or an assembly the right to have education. Where is it? That doesn't exist.
Nope.
Well, right. But now that could be, as we examine the at least the first tenement, which are the rights, that could easily branch off under the First Amendment and branch off into another chain. Can you picture it? You can't see my hand really, but you looking at the screen, you see the orange diamond here. It could branch off into other areas for building off of the notion of education.
But that's why it's left to the states. Whatever wasn't included there was left to the states.
There you go. Yep. Right.
We the people to help educate.
Yeah, that's under the 10th Amendment. So, Article 1, Section 8, that mentions the enumerated powers. But then again, even in there, there's no clause for education anywhere. It's not there. But under the First Amendment, you can see how the communities can, once they wrap their head around this notion, but still run with the 10 amendments as rights that are sovereign men and women who are serving the people, they have these rights, those 10 amendments. And then this is just an example of drilling into and expanding off of those same rights. Okay? I didn't want to kind of labor this one slide. I just wanted to mention that this is one slide presentation of many that the site will not have, but the meetings with Assembly militia leadership will have. Okay. Right now, there's only one slide I'm showing here, but this is a work in progress, and it's a group work. So there will be many meetings building off of many analytical aspects of meetings with your assembly militia. And then, like I mentioned earlier, for next week, we'll be meeting with the sheriffs on the 17th. I think it's at noon, and we'll talk about these things as well. That has nothing to do with assembly militia, but it has to do with county peacekeeping.
Okay.
Right, let me see. I think I have anything else for you right now. Do you have any questions? Have you received any?
No. I've been including in for them to email you directly, so if they had any questions.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any either from Indiana. I think what I'll do is I can bring back to this call when we have them, if it's regarding militia, questions and discussions that has been had before, and just bring them back and share with you Q&As that's come from other assemblies.
Absolutely.
Previous meetings.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
I wish my site wasn't down, but I'm gonna have to get with. I'm gonna have to jump off here a little bit early so I can touch base with him. He's out of California.
Yeah, and I wanted to go ahead because so I can spend some time with my husband before he goes in for his shift. So, and I'm sure many want to be able to. It's Monday night.
Yeah.
Be ready, fresh, so you can listen to Anna at 8.
Yeah. We did have somebody step up for a co-coordinator or a county coordinator on Kentucky. I think we have 2 now.
Awesome.
And it was a result of that meeting on the 7th, that federation.
Awesome.
You didn't have anybody reach out yet?
I had one person today has reached out, and so I'm starting to get that info out to her once I get the new link. Yeah, because because evidently a lot already reached her capacity of 200 at the time that people were kicked out. So that shows progress.
Yeah, I was able to get in. I signed in about 15 minutes early. And they are working on providing, I think WebEx can actually facilitate up to 5,000. But it has to be purchased.
Oh, yeah. Well, all right. Yep, definitely. I enjoyed it. I always enjoy getting an opportunity to see Anna anyway, but it was getting clearer. I mean, we all, for the most part, those that have been coordinators for a while, we know what our role has been, but it puts it in a better perspective and at least lightens it some so we don't, because it's not the most pleasant thing, but somebody's got to do it. We all come together and lift the load and do what we can do for as long as we can do it, and that's the main thing. So
yeah, I don't know if I guess I can share it, but just for the record, folks, whoever listens to the replay and whoever's on chat, this is a bit of hearsay, but it's optimistic on what potentiality for accessing some level of remedy. I don't know if this is true or not. It comes from somewhat of a reliable source, but this also corroborates what the Federation has mentioned regarding some access to some of these accounts that are coming out. The one that's out now, there's 3. One is a vault concept, and the other 2 based on prosperity and inheritance. But they're portioned out. They're not. And anyway, yeah, I think you're tracking the development as well. I don't have my account fully set up yet. I've been far too busy. And you may have, but it takes a while. You got to get.
No, I have, and actually, I don't even think I have a means to set up the process. But from what I hear right now, it's an overload right now as well. So I'm kind of.
Right. Well, Christine, if you want, if we get a time, I can show you. it was open to me as the opportunity in May.
Mm-hmm.
Ben and his wife and a couple of others as part of the banking committee.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they reached out to us in May, the Continental Marshal Service and PKTF, but we just been far too busy, and it's not something that was on our radar.
Right.
It is now, though.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, this is just a rumor, but it was mentioned that a man out of Alabama, he had his account established long back, and had it fully all of his paperwork, put in there and everything, and that he needed a couple $1,000. It was an emergency. He needed it, and there was a $5,000 that was added as a kind of a flex, adding to the beta testing and all of these. Well, again, just rumor.
Right.
Hopefully it's true, because this is fantastic. But,
now this is not. Now is this Global Family Bank, or is it? It's been. I'm not quite sure on all the. I haven't had time to get into all those details.
Right, and neither have I. I just heard this through Continental Marshal Service. Take it or leave it. It's not written in stone. It's hearsay. I can't confirm it, but it is an interesting perspective. So the man on Alabama, he needed funds, and he was one of the few that already has established his account.
Mm-hmm.
And he received his password, and then he went in and fully submitted his documentation. Once the banking federation, banking committee, goes through and manually acknowledges these accounts as status corrected men, women, and then now we're hearing about funds being allocated to those earlier accounts. Well, he needed $2,000. Okay, it was an emergency, but he needed it. Well, I don't know what the emergency was. I don't even know if this is true or not. But when he went in, he linked his current commercial account to that. He received the transfer, and he received $2,000 from his bank as a result of linking to the Global Family Bank. But when he went back to check his Global Family Bank, which had 5,000 units of value, it only deducted $11.83 worth.
Oh wow!
Because of the extreme, so for people who are hearing these things, just build off that optimism. We don't know if this is true or not. Most likely, some portions of those aspects are true, but nevertheless, you got people who they need remedy. So where it's coming about,
Mm-hmm.
and so slowly but surely, and anyway, that's all we heard. That's not even my concern necessarily, but for some people, it's just a necessity. They need to be able to, and that's just the world we live in, and it's
Right.
tragic. Yes. So anyway, we have that to look forward to, or any portion of that, and then probably more. But
I do
I don't know how it all.
I do see a message in chat. The one that put the message in chat, they didn't put their name or county that they're on. Are you on? But from what I'm seeing in the name, I want to say you're either Lake or Marion County, maybe. If you, could you please go ahead and put in the chat, or you can go ahead and say hi on the call as well. The mic is in the bottom left corner. Or the chat where you found to be able to present your question.
We love questions.
Maybe you stepped away for a moment, but you'll need to make sure and give us your first name and what county you're on.
Is that through YouTube? Or?
I can hear you now. Yes, go ahead.
How y'all doing? My name's Ken. I'm from Indianapolis.
All right, that's Marion County, everyone. Those that are on Indiana.
Yeah.
How
Welcome.
y'all doing?
Welcome.
Thank you. How you doing, Christine?
Doing well. Now just gotta gotta let us all know who all's here, right? Because we're here together though too.
Right.
All right, I saw you got a question about when the next. So, okay, in the agenda, at the end of the call, I'll have a link for the agenda in the description for YouTube. And it'll be on the athomeonindiana.org website. But the assembly calls are weekly on Mondays. The first and third Monday is the General Assembly and Militia meeting. And then the second and fourth Mondays are Jural Assembly and Militia. Now, we're not going to meet for the fourth Monday this month because it's Christmas, so there won't be a Jural Assembly second one for this month. But we will be meeting next Monday for the 18th with the General Assembly. And right now we've got the date set out for the next, for the first quarter here, first 3 months, so that with everybody in schedule, so we can make sure we don't want to commit too far out and then nobody be able to show up because of life changes too. So, so we are on a weekly basis right now, and but of course it's every other week for General and for Jural. And the recordings will be there in YouTube and agenda presentations that you can go back and look to as well.
Did you have a question, Christine?
That was it. Was wondering about when the calls were.
Okay.
Did you have anything else? I think that was it. All right. Okay. Well, we're glad that you were able to make it even better late than never, and we'll make sure I'll get you in the agenda as that you were on the call with us. You're Kenny, right, on Marion County, so I can make sure I get you included. So you're on the record that you were with us on the call. All right. I think that's now everything. I didn't have any other messages or chats, and we'll go ahead. You're welcome, dear. All right. Who's saying thank you in the chat? All right, so we'll go ahead and end from here. We'll see each other next week for the General Assembly call with Militia, and wish you all peace and love. Have a great night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Recording stopped. This session is no longer being recorded. Goodbye.